We're spinning.
There we go.
Good morning. This is All Booked Up, and I'm Beth Hildenbrand. And today our special guest is Brandon Connor. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you.
Yes.
So I'm going to give Brandon the stage now and let him tell us a little bit about himself.
Hey, folks. Like my friend Beth here. I'm half Pennsylvanian. My mother was from Pennsylvania, and I spent most of my time in Western New York growing up, which is why I picked Pittsburgh as a theme for my books. But now I'm in sunny South Florida, where the weather's gorgeous. Yeah, we got sunny 75, except if it hits under 50, you gotta watch out for those falling iguanas because they're cold-blooded. Thing. So it's fun. It's different. So life has kind of brought me down here. I'm looking to finish my bachelor's in criminal science psychology. Found writing as a passion a couple years ago, and just trying to have a good time in Florida. So with the beaches down here, I worked out right by the beach. It's a wonderful time. So and of course, traveling is the nice part. So because Florida's always
that sounds wonderful.
It is.
Our Nina is from Florida.
Excellent.
And I'm always envious until she gets flooded, and then I worry about her.
Yes.
And speaking of Pittsburgh,
yes,
that is how I stumbled upon you. We were in the same book group, and I picked up your book because it was called Iron City Justice, The Butterfly Effect. And I was like, Iron City, this has to be about Pittsburgh. And that made me pick up your book, and I loved it.
Excellent.
Gave it 5 stars. It was a very good story. It was, how would you call it? It was a cop story, I guess. Okay, I'm tongue-tied this morning. Go ahead, tell us about it.
It's like you get to and it's a butterfly effect because one quarterback makes one bet to throw one game and sets everything into a different path.
Yes.
So, and then you kind of get a serial killer is born. You know, he loses family tragically because of overtime because of the game being thrown. And so even though he's a selfish man, he needs that revenge. So he kind of like concocts this idea that he needs to get back to the quarterback.
Yes.
But he leaves bodies of loved ones and the hated ones behind him. So it's kind of like, but you love to hate him.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my God, yes. He is a twisted guy.
He is. And it's the selfish, but then you break him down, and there's a couple scenes where I wanted people to be like, oh my God, there's a root issue behind this. So he's a womanizer. He's just, you're just not the kind of guy you want to have a beer with.
No.
Yeah. But then you feel a little bad for him for a second, and then it twists and go over again. So, plus, my brother's a cop in Pittsburgh. So, I know a lot about Pittsburgh. Been down there, black and yellow for the Steelers, and a little butterfly on there. So I thought that would be fun to incorporate the hometown team. So, and it's a fun city. I've been quite a few times, so there's going to be quite a few coming from this series. So I have the next one outlined and ready to pop. That'll be my 3rd novel coming out. So excited about that.
That's terrific.
So, yes, the Detective Adam Carpenter will be out and about quite a bit. Same with his new partner, Daniel Whiteman. So a lot of adventures.
Yes, and you had a gotcha at the end of the book, which I'm not going to give. I hate to give the gotchas. I love doing the show, but there's so much I want to say about the book that I got to bite my tongue with a lot of books because I never want to give them away. I'm like that with reviews too. A lot of people will review a book and pretty much, give you the story. And that drives me crazy. It's like, well, I want to read the book for myself. You don't have to tell the whole story in your review because then, okay, well, what's the point of reading the book?
Yeah.
So,
you're halfway in and, they tell you that stuff that happens halfway in. Just tell me what, like a general idea of who's doing what. I kept mine very kind of vague because it's, you got to dig deep into it. You got to read it. So
exactly.
This is not enough because you have to read it to the end and then everything pulls together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want to, give the story away for people. You gotta You got to get in there and read for yourself.
Because I
So
don't know
yes,
about you, but I do not DNF. I make myself finish it because I'm like, I don't know what they're thinking.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never read the end. I will never go, oh, I got to find out what happens and go back and read the end. I never do that. It drives me crazy when I hear people do that. Oh, I skipped to the end. Why? Why would you do that? That spoils everything.
Yeah, it's like telling somebody about a surprise party. Why would you do that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or when somebody tells me how a movie ends, you just want to smack them. Like,
I had a friend that did that. He's like, oh my God, the next scene when, and he tells me what happens, I walk up and I'm like, no. He's like, I got excited. Well, keep the excitement to you.
Yeah, well, thanks for taking mine away. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Sorry. But yeah, I kind of like the twists and turns. I mean, you get I like every story to have three sides. And I feel like I get that in this book, where you kind of see the good, the bad, the ugly. You get the legal side, the not legal side, and then you kind of feel bad for a couple of the characters.
So, yes. And then, see, I don't want to give it away. But, the one family in the story, there's some wild people there too. Yeah. I mean, there's just, you have a lot of characters, but they all work. It's not, sometimes I think, oh my God, Mary Beth, you've put too many, I said the M word. You've put too many characters in this story. But if you can work it right, there's never too many characters in a story.
No.
And you did that really well. You incorporated the characters so that they all worked and they were all essential to the plot. Mm-hmm. And I like that about the book. And some of the characters were like just absolutely mind-boggling. While like other ones,
Cookie, remember Cookie?
Yes.
Cookie? Yes, wasn't he fun? I had a blast creating him. He just, I wanted to laugh at.
When I was the mind-boggling, that's exactly who I was thinking of. Yes. Yeah, you had some
kind of funny guy,
Yes. And see, when I write horror, I put a lot of goofs in there and smart ass cracks and chuckles. Yeah. I have a hard time with straight gory horror myself. Yeah. I think you got to put some humor in there to ease it up. And that's what that character was in your book. Yeah. And I loved that part about it because I have to put that in mind too. So yeah, he was like one of my favorite characters in that book. He was probably my favorite character in your book because he was the comic relief that you needed. Yeah. When you have such a serious story. Yes.
There's a little funny Easter egg in there now and then.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he was my favorite.
She's like, oh my God, I loved, what was it? Something about, they opened up the pliers had that fresh, that had that new plier smell. Like, I just went a little giggle because, you don't want it too dark. You don't want it too light. So, but also I wanted real life. Like there's going to be drugs. There's going to be, people you don't like, and not everything ends up perfect at the end. No, it's like, I wanted life. I was reading a lot of crime fiction. I'm like, everything ends up just bubblegum and happy. I did
that with my last book, and that was new for me. Usually, it doesn't end happy in my books, but this last one did. But usually it doesn't, and I don't know. I think everything's just been so depressing in the world lately. I had to have a happy ending in this one. Yeah, but no, normally it does not have a happy ending.
No,
and
my next book is actually going to be one where I'm in the first stage of editing. You're going to be mad. You're going to be frustrated because you get three parts and it's three different views, and it's called a precise deception, and it's based in beautiful Cuba, New York, where I'm from. Two stoplights in town on the lake. It's a federal agent who's found hanging. No way to get up there. Looks like foul play. Was it the ex-wife and her lover? Somebody was deceived. Somebody did a lot of deceiving, and you have to kind of pick apart to see, was it precise? There's insurance money involved, homes, dignity, honor, pride, things like this. And, and it will show you through different sides. And it actually shows like the outcome of some of the case. I don't give it away, but it is going to be out this fall. Precise deception. It is going to be one where you may just throw the book at the end and just walk away and need to have a cigarette or a beer or just sit outside for a minute. Like yourself. Because I want one of those, like, you get mad at the end, like, so, you got to turn it up.
Sounds like a good book. I'm
It
gonna
is.
have
I'm
to read
excited
it.
because especially this is such a little town. It's an hour and a half south of Buffalo, and it's called Cuba, New York. Funny enough, and it's the first place they found oil in North America. It's home of Laura Ingalls' father's Laura Ingalls Wilder's father. He was there till he was 12. So in school, I went to school with her descendants. So it's such a weird little niche place that it deserves like kind of a cool story.
Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
That does sound cool.
Yeah, and then Iron City will get plenty of. I have a couple sequel. I mean, a couple and a prequel in the works. A couple years, a couple.
Ooh.
Yeah, you gotta have because we start up with the death of the partner in Iron
That's
City.
right.
Yeah,
That's
the death
right.
of Neil. That's like a point. You got to see what happens
Because he gets his new partner
yeah.
in Iron City Butterfly Effect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's just the start of their friendship and their, well, not even friendship at the beginning, it's being disgruntled. So then just all that playing out. So yeah, so Iron City Justice, there will be a lot of fun with that. So it will be a series. And like I said, probably the second one will be out late, probably December. So
excellent.
So,
excellent.
yeah,
well, we'll have to come back for that.
Yes, exactly. I love it. I'm having fun.
Yes. Well,
yes.
I need to take a minute so we can say good morning to our viewers. Good morning, Jess. Good morning, Nina. We'll see if anybody else pops up yet. But I'd like to say good morning and see if anybody has any questions coming up. Feel free to ask. What did I had more questions for you. You have Inspiration by Brandon.
Yes. So I'm doing a little side project. It's a Facebook page and a website. And most authors do like, BrandonDeconner.com. I'm like, you know what? Let's do something a little different. I have Inspiration by Brandon.com. We got some quotes. I have a woman that works with sexual abuse patients, recoverers. She does her own page. I call it Marie's Corner. We have some blogs, some articles. I do some reviewing and also literary suggestions. Like this page is on there.
Thank you.
There. Yeah. So it's like kind of cool things to check out. Different blogs I've been participating in or books like indie authors, ones that we need to unite. We need to build a strong force.
Absolutely.
So, we're not censored by the publishers. We're we give it to you raw. We live it, we like to give the true story. So but also if you're having a down day, go to that webpage, find a quote if you need something inspirational. We're working on blogs. It's expanding daily. It's something fun. So that's instead of doing just something bland in general, it has this little books by Brandon little page where you can order my book, things like that directly from my website. But I want to give something back. So kind of like a little mixture of things. And who doesn't love a good inspirational quote?
Well, here we have Dana.
Yes,
and she says, I am reading his book. It's great.
Yes.
It is, isn't it? Oh, I loved it.
Yes,
oh, that's great. Thanks for coming, Dana. It's nice to have you on the show. I do want to say something about Inspiration with Brandon. If you want to put on there, we are looking for some spooky chiller thrillers or things like that for October. If anybody wants to sign up for the podcast for October that wants to give us some scary kind of thrills and chills, have them give us a ring or hit up Nina or me, and we'd be glad to have them on the show. We'd like to have a very spooky October.
I have a couple in mind because I always love to work with indie authors, as you see. If I find a good page, I always invite you. I try to connect. There's a couple in mind I'd love to, refer because we're not competitors because you're going to read it's not like you're going to read my book 100 times over and over again. I want to refer you to somebody else and while I write my next book and we all connect.
Yes, absolutely. That's what it's all about. That's why we have the show.
And I'm having a blast, yeah.
Oh, thank you, Nina. It's the studio. We're having our first show in the new studio.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you. These are all paintings my son did. My son's an artist. The one is a self-portrait, and the other one is a painting of my 5 sons that
That's
he made.
so cool.
Thank you. Now, what was I going to say about indie authors? And yes, helping each other. Oh, after the show, put all your links on my Facebook page, please.
Absolutely.
So that, everybody has them right there with the show and, they can connect the two and follow you. Because, yes, that's what we do. We share we encourage each other, and we like to help each other. That's what it's all about. Indie is going to take over the world. I have no doubt.
And so, and also, like, I'd love to give content that you actually enjoy instead of buy my book. Like on Inspiration by Brandon on Facebook, we do TED Talk Tuesdays. I'll post up a good little TED Talk. So, like, this past week was about grief, and I lost my mother. She was supposed to be my editor. Lost her mid-production of my book.
Oh,
sadly.
I'm sorry.
So, thank you. But it was about grief, and it was a really good one. So I like to put something like, and then also on Books by Brandon on their Facebook page. I do that chapter Thursday. He gives good, like, true crime stories and a different, like, you know, with kind of like a lighthearted, fun way, but still to the facts and gives it respectfully. So, like, you know, there's content that you want to share with your friends. So, you know.
Hi, Kylie.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. It's good to see you, hon. And Kylie thinks too that it's good that authors support each other, and that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
It's and I don't know many who don't. I think the indie world is just great for that. We all look out for each other, and that's what it's all about. And Nina has asked a question. We have our first question. Who is your favorite author?
Ooh, you know, that's kind of tough. Right now, actually, there's an indie author, Spencer Geronimo. Have you read him? He has 3 books out. I've read all 3.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about doing the show. He's about to publish his 4th. Right now, he did 3 good ones in a row. They're quick, they're twisty, they're fun. You know, so I enjoyed him. You know, and actually, really loved this past year. And everything tied in was Capote, Truman Capote. So much about him I learned this year. I would not want to be like him, but I'd like to be an author like him. Good author, not a good friend. But, you know, I read In Cold Blood this past year. And then, did you see Feud?
No, I didn't.
Oh, my goodness. You have to see it. About him and the Swans.
Oh,
and it shows
no, I
the
didn't.
power his words had. Like, he broke up friendships and just, you know, it just led to demise. Truman Capote.
What's it on? Is it on the Amazon or Netflix or?
It's Hulu.
Hulu. Okay, I have that. Yep.
Yeah, there's 2 seasons. The first one is a couple of years back. That's Joan Crawford and Betty Davis.
Ooh.
Oh, about their little feud, especially during when they filmed Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Then you move to Truman.
Oh, I love that movie.
And it gives you back scenes and what they were doing to each other and the psyche, and it really pulls things, and whether or not Mommy Dearest was correct or not. It gave insight into that also. It gave Jones like a different views. Like I love different views because every story has 3 parts. So, but yeah, Callista Flockhart, Molly Ringwald, a lot of these actresses popped up and were different ones of the Swans, and it's really like you just see like. He uses words for good and also for bad in that story. So I was I would say my favorite, but it was hot on his trail this year. It was a good, you know, combination between, you know, reading In Cold Blood and then watching the, you know, it's still on Hulu. It's great. So
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Awesome.
Nina says, how long did it take you to write your book?
It took 11 months between the first pencil and the final publication. Like I said, I had some turmoil in my life, losing my mother, and it went from, you know, a third of its size to fully developing to where it is. It's, you know, it's good 600 pages, but it's tied together nicely. So, my biggest pet peeve is when there's a plot hole and you lose a star there. And I really don't feel like, I feel like I tied everything together and it's going to connect to the next book. So, but thank you, Nina. Yeah, it's just like this one's taking 1.5 years. The other one, I don't know. So, yeah.
Fabulous.
That's fun.
It takes me about that long too. I'm not one of those quick writers who can, you know, 2 or 3 months get out a book. I wish I could, but I just I can't pull it off.
More, you know.
I just have so much going on. I just don't seem to have enough time ever.
And it's a self-discipline. You get home and you're like, okay, this happened. I'm like, okay, I'm going to start reading through this part of my started editing, and my battery dies on my laptop, and I have to charge it. I'm like, oh, these little things in life you just need to pull together. So, yeah.
And Nina says, how much research do you need to do for your books?
Those actually, that takes a good chunk of time because I want to make sure. And also, I have a father that's in the police force in Western New York, asking him questions and just like just researching what, because I don't want it to, especially this. My upcoming one has a lot to do with federal death penalty, that controversy, and what's legal because it's based in New York, which is not death penalty state. But if it's a federal crime, you can get the death penalty even in New York because it's a federally prosecuted versus state. So the research makes sure everything is right and how the time frame and what this and that, and just like, you know, the just the medical terminology. So things like that, like just make sure it sounds precise, because I hate when you open a book and this is not practical. And you just, you know, it's one thing if it's like you know, fantasy in your imagination. When it's something like this, you want to make sure it's like, it sounds legit. It doesn't sound like something, you know, and you just kind of like, oh, well, this sounds like it should happen when it doesn't, you know. You kind of have to research and make sure it's legit, or else you lose the reader when it doesn't, you know, especially somebody that does know the law, like, oh, this is fluff.
Yeah, so, I remember reading, and it was such a dumb thing to irritate me, but the author, and it was a famous author too, it said about the cop had 23 cigarettes left in his pack. And I'm thinking, well, that's really cool because there's only 20 cigarettes in a pack to begin with. So what, did he have a bonus pack? Is this a pack I don't know about? I'd like to have his pack because he gets more than I do.
Yeah. The double pack.
Okay, so Kylie says, don't stress about the time it takes. We all work differently. Thank you, Kylie. I need to hear that.
The little writer that could.
Oh, I'm squinting today for some reason. I'll tell you what the reason is. I lost my contact, and I had to go back to my old ones because I don't want to open a new pack. And so I'm not seeing, I need to open a new pack apparently because now I'm squinting again. What was the hardest scene to write and why?
Oh, well, there's a lot of couple of the characters that I loved, I had to kill. And it happens in a book. And I won't say who dies, but one of them, I literally sat down and oh my God. And I was sad. I was like mourning the loss of one of the characters. You tend to love them so much. And even when you hate them, you love them. You built them. And you're like, oh my God, this is like, you know. And even the latest one, when I'm literally writing the ending, I'm like, I feel like a bad person by writing them, by having the characters do this. And you're like, I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person, I promise. So it irks on you, especially when you love your character so much and you've invested so much. And you just, you know,
I did that. I killed one person, and I actually had the woman who was editing for me at the time. She actually messaged me, and she's like, "I can't believe you did that," and she's crying and crying, and I was like, "Well, for heaven's sakes, it's not a real person. That's how the story had to go. I'm sorry."
Just don't get stuck with her in a cabin. Just no main cabins with her, okay? Yeah. So, and I had a couple people like come in and like say to me, "I can't believe you did that." And one woman I had to talk, a good friend of mine who actually Noreen is based on in the book, is a good friend from Buffalo that I knew for years. And she's reading and she was mad or something, and she didn't even know what happened to her character next, and she still stopped. She was, "Oh man, you got to keep going. Come on, plug through," because then I mean, it's hard to kill them, but you know.
Isn't it awful?
I'm a barista. And we have a giant oven in the bakery. And I'm like, this will be a great way to kill somebody. And my coworker looks at me. I'm like, not here. Not here. Not in real life.
I asked somebody something the other day about killing somebody somehow. And it just looked at me like, I was like, never mind. I'll Google it.
Yeah.
And you know, people just think you're so odd. I can't remember what it was, but it just all of a sudden hit me, and I said, "Hey, can you kill somebody by doing this?" Mm-hmm. Now, what was it? It was some kind of poison.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, would they taste it in this? And I was like, never mind, I'll just Google it.
Yeah. It's just like I guess chloroform. You have to hold it, and the movies are done. No, apparently chloroform takes a minute or two. So that ruined me ever writing something about chloroform because it's like, great, well, I know the truth now. It ruined it for me.
Yeah, I know. Because I've read it in a book. What was it?
Yeah.
It was a Nora Roberts book. The guy used chloroform
Yeah.
to knock out his victims. And at the time, I thought, hey, that's supposed to take a while, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Because
like,
they used to use it for surgery, chloroform,
yeah.
before they had, anesthesia. And it would take a while because I remember reading another book, and it was, a book about the soldiers in the Civil War. So
Yeah.
that they would sometimes start to amputate
Yeah.
before the chloroform could knock them out because they had so many waiting.
Yeah.
That they didn't have time to wait for the chloroform to knock them out completely before they started amputating limbs. And so when I read that the guy was, the serial killer was knocking him out with chloroform, I thought, well, now, this should take a while because it took a while for these soldiers, they were getting amputated before it could even kick in.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm
exactly.
sidetracking again.
Yeah, but yeah, the research is so important because you want to make sure, there's a couple times I've read books and by bigger authors, and I found a plot hole where the timeline doesn't work, and I dropped them a star in my review because I'm like, no, like you want to make sure it's all tied together. And my like mind blowing isn't like, how can that happen? It's like, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah. See, I'm sidetracking again, but yeah, I do that. I sidetrack all the time.
Yeah.
That's
Well, like I saw two different characters in the book, and then they end up being the same person because they use two different names. And I'm like, no, we don't. That was like a little like, ooh, no, you tricked us, and I want to trick the reader. I want them to like us, even though they hate us for what we do to the characters.
Well, Nina's yelling at me about that right now. And Nina, you don't have to worry. I'm on chapter 5. He's alive for at least one more book, okay? She's yelling at me about Cain. I'm on chapter 5. You got him for at least one more. After that, I don't know.
No, what you do is you need them to like do a Deadpool, like decide what book and what chapter in the next 5. Give him like 5 books. In these next 5 books, he'll die. You have to like do it bet on which one he's gonna do a little Deadpool on it.
Well, I had done 3 Cain novels, and I thought, it was going to end at the trilogy.
Yeah.
But I'm having so many people scold me that he can't end there, that we are now on book 4.
Yeah.
And, I love him too. It's hard for me to let go. It's like, a boyfriend that you don't want to get rid of. Yeah. It's like a love affair you can't end.
Toxicity.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes, I have other things. That okay, we have a new question though. What do you need in your writing space to help you stay focused?
Well, I live in South Florida's a little pricey. So I've got a little room. It's a little sunroom I rent. I'm moving into a studio eventually, but I just need to get home, no distractions. Get my from my work day, sit down, focus. That's the thing. Is the biggest thing is like you get typing and you doubt yourself. The self-doubt gets you. It's not the time management. It's the self-doubt. Like they're all gonna laugh at you, or But then I remind myself, somebody made a movie about sharks in a tornado, and it was a hit. So no matter what I come up with, it's going to be better than that. And I'll find people that love it. You'll find your niche. And luckily, knock on cardboard, I've got my book. I've had, only 10 ratings, but they're all 5 stars. So I've got as many as America. So we're going to keep moving, and I'm hoping to build up the fan base. So, but, that's the confirmation when it comes up. And it's like, especially those that you've never, I had one from Australia, somebody I've never had contact with, so that gives you the boost. Those little boosts make you, yes, and want to go home and keep going and keep pushing.
Yes,
so that's
absolutely.
The biggest way to focus. It's the mental. So, because I've got my little simple desk, I've got a little bit of sunshine, a nice little view in the backyard, 2 cats that come to keep me busy at times, but it's always about the mental. So you got to jump out of the mental. Good
I
question.
was doing the same thing this morning. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm getting my coffee and I'm thinking, you know what? I haven't had an action scene yet. I'm on chapter 4 and I haven't had a big action scene. I need to go back. I need to go back. What am I going to do? How am I going to fix this? So yeah, you doubt everything you write. And yeah, I'm going to go back and put an action scene in because I know I need it. I was too focused on Cain being angry because I want to bring him back to his the beginnings where I humanized him too much over the books.
Yeah.
And I was so concentrated on that.
Yeah.
That it got to be too much about him. And I need an action scene. So I need to go back and mess with that tonight. Thanks a lot, Nina.
And I'm
just going to blame Nina for everything. Nina, it's your fault.
Poor Nina. She's been awesome coordinating. Poor Nina.
Oh, I love Nina. I couldn't get through the day without Nina. Good grief. She even takes me to the grocery store with her, but I didn't get my ice cream the other night. I'm just all depressed. I had to eat cheesecake instead.
Oh, the Golden Girls
Poor
diet.
me. Yes. I watch the Golden Girls every night. I do.
Well, I mean, you pull in, you look at their writing and how great. And once you become a writer, you watch other people like movies, and I've been more into movies and TV shows. Or I like to do a movie or film is the biggest thing, because it's the difference between a book and a novel, movie or a film. Like Forrest Gump movie, Forrest Gump film, Sharknado movie. The difference between the two. So it's like those you kind of see everything differently that way.
Well, I always have the Golden Girls on in the background. They come on at midnight. And I have that on in the background while I read, because that's when I start reading. Around midnight is when I start reading, for the show. I always read my authors. And I'll tell you what, every now and then I will laugh myself silly. Like there was one about Dr. Spock, and they were talking about the baby Dr. Spock, and that crazy Rose is thinking, the Vulcan. And I laughed till I had tears rolling down my face over that one. And, just silliness. You just need the silliness sometimes. So, yes, I enjoy that. And Shady Pines. They're always going to send that little old lady to Shady Pines. Yes.
Exactly.
And I think that's my kids. I always say my boys are either going to send me to Shady Pines or they're going to lock me in the attic and throw cat food at me.
Oh, geez.
Those are my two options with those kids.
Oh, come on. You
Because they think I'm
more
nuts.
Creative than that as a writer, a little bit more creative, but.
No, they wouldn't have time for anything else. There you go, Ma. Okay, what kind of music do you listen to while you write?
Oh, I see. I need to be quiet. Just pitch quiet. That way I can just something with the focus. However, I do listen to a variety when I'm not working, like if I'm walking or something. Kelly, Taylor Swift, country, pop. I never discriminate against the type of genre. And
keep going.
I'm going. And so I don't discriminate against the genre, but I kind of pull from it. You kind of listen to different types of music, but unfortunately I'm one of those that has to be nice and quiet when I write, but just to kind of get, because music isn't poetry, even though I'm not a poet, kind of get to hear different words that you might want to use and incorporate. So once on my Wednesdays, I have a bunch of errands I have to run, headphones in, listen to different types of music, maybe pick up a term I want to use or, an idea for something. So you never know what pops in your head.
I'm back.
Hi.
Got a tickle.
Oh, boy.
It happens. Okay. Question. What comes first for you, the plot or the characters?
Depends. Like Iron City Justice, I had the detectives and their subplot picked first. Now every time I can put in the main plot but there's always going to be, with the detectives, there's that subplot they're going to be working on for a long, long time. So now I kind of try the main plot to be like, okay, so that's going to circle that way. However, the newest book that's coming out, I had the idea, the plot made, and then built the characters around it. So it just depends on It just depends on what the situation is, what idea is it, the character that pops in my head, or is it the a situation? Situation came with the latest one, Precise Deception, but Iron City Justice, Adam and Daniel, those guys, I knew exactly where I'm going with them. It's gonna be a series where you will have to read it in succession because it's just one leads to another, and you've got to see how the family pulls and Adam's family along with some of the characters, and like the captain will be in there, Philip Mason, the one CSI Tech, he'll be in there. So these characters, there's gonna be some that are staying there, and then go from there. And so even some little sub characters are gonna be pulled up that weren't killed off by me, the lucky ones. So,
The lucky ones.
the lucky ones.
Oh, we have someone new.
Okay. So yes, my brother's a cop in Pittsburgh, and my father is a interim police chief in Western New York. So I've pulled some different, I grew up, in the background with the police family and all that, even though he was part time. So kind of pulling in, and hearing stories from them, things like that. I kind of get a nice little, like a little memory, like a little library I can pull from of stories that have happened or like procedures or things like that. And the things I can bounce against them. Is this practical? Did this happen? Is this real life? And also a lot of, funny enough, YouTube has a ton of the body cameras now that you can see true interaction of what happens when, so like with the body cams on YouTube, you can really see what actually happens on the field now. So you can get ideas from that or see what's right, what's wrong. There's a lot of just, legal research. What happens in this situation? And I've even pulled up different case studies and stuff. Medical case studies and like law. Like, okay, is this practical? So there's, with everything available now, besides the family and also online and YouTube, like I said, the chest cams are amazing. If you watch those, you're like, oh my God, like some of the things that happen and ideas and things like that, always something brewing.
Well, everybody, excuse me. I think I'm done now. I sneezed it out. Okay. Carrie says hi. She's sorry that she's late. And she will listen later on replay. Thank you, Carrie. We love you. She's a big fan of the show.
Good.
Oh, okay. So where are we at? I missed the last little bit.
What was that? Law enforcement. My brother, my dad, my father's been a cop. Such a small town area, part time for about 25 years. So he would do like weekends. Now he's the interim chief while things get sorted out in that town. So he's been, busy and hectic and all these things, but also like little stories from him through the years, or also like I can bounce things off of him. Or also, like I said, YouTube. Like finding a lot of things on YouTube these days. That chapter, different podcasts, or even the body cam. I love watching the body cams. It's like, okay, this is how it really goes down, and this is
I love those shows.
Oh my God,
I love those shows. I was watching Live PD last night.
Yeah.
Those things can be so much fun. I don't know. There was some naked guy last night wandering around. It was hysterical.
Yeah,
you gotta love that stuff. You never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Just like we grew up watching Cops Saturday night.
Yes.
With my father. Bad boys, bad boys.
So. It did, just like this show. You never know what's going to happen. You have the disappearing host. You think it's bad when people disappear, to move their cars. Well, now you have the disappearing host. Okay. Yeah. I drank, Nina. I'm fine. She's always saying, drink, Beth. Make sure you have a drink.
Hydrate.
Oh, it's the allergies.
Yeah.
They get me. And then I get the little tickles in the throat, and I'm sitting here with the window open. So, duh. Okay, well, it's time for the news. So, let's share what our friends are doing. Let's see. This week, we have on pre-order Nights with Benefits. It's a Wolf Shifters MC romance by Leanne Ryans. So anybody who would like to pre-order that, it's on Amazon. And new release, we have Ruthless Creatures Book 2 by Adeline Winters. New release, we have Consume by Hargrove Birth. and she is one of my favorites. So check that out. New release, we have Where the Tombstones Grow by yours truly, Beth Hildenbrand. That would be me. You really need to check out this book.
It looks fascinating.
It's fun. It's a spooky fun thing. You know, it's a quick little beach read or sitting at the pool. Reviews. And there goes the child. Reviews. Because of You by tomorrow's guest, Renee Pellegrino. What are you doing? I'm in the middle of the show. Oh, he's
Hello.
saying hi. Okay, thank you, Matthew. He says hi. Okay.
There's a handshake as well.
Thank you. You're a good boy. Go away. That's his first time on camera. He had to make an appearance. Because of You, we give that 5 stars. That was a very good romance novel. The Body as Haunted by Pixie Bruner. It's a book of poetry, and it another 5 stars. And Word Troubadours by Ellen Mabey and P.J. Swift. Another book of poetry, 5 stars. Been reading a lot of poetry lately. And of course, our good buddy Josephine Wrightson is in Savannah right now at the book conference. And from the pictures on her Facebook, she's having a ball sitting by the pool and eating all kinds of fancy food and just having all kinds of fun down there in Savannah.
And with books.
Yes.
What else do you want?
I'll tell you what, I was supposed to go, but my head. They were checking me for migraines and stuff, and it didn't look good, so I didn't go. But anyway, I get to be here and do this great show, and that is much more important to me.
Exactly.
So I guess I think we covered the news. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m., we are having Renee Pellegrino. So everybody stop in for that, and we'll hear all about her book, Because of You. And no, she has a new one out. Yes, we'll hear about that. So thank you, Brandon, so much for being on the show and for putting up with my little allergy attack there. And
I got the spotlight for a minute. I love it. It's great.
You got to host the show.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you, Nina, my darling, for everything that you do. We wouldn't have this show without you, sweetie. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. And please feel free to tune in again. We love to have people come to the show. And check out Iron City Butterfly, a 5-star read. You're going to love it. Twists and turns and all kinds of great things. I don't know. They're talking. Hello, Terry. Hi, Kenny. Thank you guys for coming. Oh no, what kind of recent good news? Okay, whoever you are, get off the show. You don't come in my show to try and sell things. Jesus. Okay, so we're going to end this show on a good note. Thank you, Brandon. You are the best. And Iron City Butterfly, everybody check it out. Brandon is going to put all of his links on my page for everybody. And thank you, Brandon, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Hang on a few minutes after the show so I can talk to you. And everybody, thanks for coming. Love ya. Bye-bye.